Okay, here we go. We have this problem. Get excited because we're going to make sense of it. 488 divided by 8. Okay, let's try to make sense of this thing. So we need to take 488 and divide it into groups of 8. That's one way to think of it. Okay, so let's just go with that one way. It's the same way we've been thinking for all of them. So if I make one group of 8, I'm thinking on a number line here. There it is, one group of 8. I go from 0 to 8, that's 8. I'm going to go another 8. I'm going to add 8 to that. I'm at 16. There's 2 groups. I'm going to go another 8. And I'm at 24. Okay, there it is, 3 groups. I go another. I'm at the number 32. You could use your chart to help you on this. I'm at 4 groups. Oh man, am I close to 488 yet? Heck no. No, not even close. Okay. So, wow, I know it's going to be a pretty big number, but how big? Well, if you check your chart, and let's say we just skip some, and we go all the way to the end, what's that final number in the 8 row? It's 80. Okay, so let's go to 80. How many groups would that be if we put these all in here? You'd be at 10 groups, because if you go up on your chart, that's 10. That's 10 groups until you get to 80. It took you 10 jumps to get there. So this was 10 groups in the number 80. In 80, we're going to say it's kind of close to 100. Okay, so let's just go with it. It's it's almost there. So if we have 10 groups and almost 100, but we need to get to 488, we would need another 10 groups, because that would be another 100, and another 10 groups would be another 100. So now we're at 300, and then another 10 groups. That's another 100. So we're at 400. What do you think? Stick with 400, or is it closer to 500? It's kind of closer to 500. So let's go another 10 groups. And we're at another 500. So this is an overestimate, but as we're looking at our visual, so I have 10 groups, 20, 30, 40, 50. So this is about 50. Okay? We can make 50 groups. And that's a little over of what we need. Groups of 8. Let's go ahead and estimate it now using our chart. So 48 divided by 8. I already forgot the problem. I'm going to look on the chart at the 8 row for 488. It's not going to be on there. So what's my next number I'm going to look for? 48. And is 48 on there? It is. It's on there. 48 is on your chart. So we're going to keep 48. And what are we going to do with this? We're going to make it a 0. And now 48 divided by 8, that's our fact. What is it? 6. And we attach this 0. So we got our estimate here to be 60. Okay? All right, now we're going to go ahead and divide it. So 48 divided by 8. We're going to scoop the 4 first. Does 8 go into 4? Hopefully by this time you're like, I've checked the row, and 4 is not on there. It starts at 8. So, no. 4, no. That's less than 8, so we can't do that. Can't do that. 8's not going to go into 4. So now let's go. How many groups of 8 are in 48? Now this should look familiar because we just talked about it. 8 goes into 48. You check the 8 row, and you're going to notice that 48 is there. 48 is there. You have no remainder there. How many times? Well, scroll up on your chart. 8 times 6 gives you 48. You're going to have 6 groups of 8. Perfectly. Okay, and the problem is not done, because now I still need this second digit above the 8. So I'm going to bring the 8 down to where the 0 was. And now I look at how many times does 8 go into 8. So I check the 8 row and see if 8's on there. Oh my gosh, yes. It's the first one. It's the first one. It's the first multiple of 8. So 1 times 8 is 8. And we are left with no remainder. 0, nothing, nada. So there's our quotient, 61, which was close to our estimate, totally. So let's check it by multiplying our quotient by our divisor and see if we get 488. Moment of truth. 61 times 8. We do our 1 times 8. 1 times 8. And that is 8. Okay, this is looking good. And now we already did that, so now I'm going to go to the 6 times 8. And 6 times 8 is 48. Oh my gosh, and there it is. There is our number that we wanted to show up. Oh my gosh, it was.